Okay, so as a sidebar, let me give you a little tour of factions and organizations. So, the deal with factions is there are three factions that a character can be a part of. Light faction, dark faction, or neutral faction. Now, as a generalization, and this isn't always true, light faction and dark faction characters are not necessarily to be considered in terms of good and evil. It's almost more of a, it's almost, if we were to talk D&D alignment, or this is more of, say, lawful versus chaotic. Well, that may not even be true. But anyway, a light character is going to have stricter codes in terms of what they're willing to do and not do in order to attain their goals, whereas a dark character may have a little bit more flexibility in what they consider to be okay by their own standards. So again, not necessarily good or evil. I still think it's sort of lawful versus chaotic, whereas a neutral character is probably somewhere in between. Okay, so now you can build your party based on its faction, or you can build your party based upon its organization, the character's organization. So I'll go through the organizations in the main rulebook. I don't know a whole lot about Black Sun, but I will give you a very, very general, very brief understanding of that. So first up, we've got the Holy Empire of Abel, or Empire. These characters are characterized by having heavy armor. They are very, very combat oriented. In terms of their artwork, we're talking about knights, classic warriors, almost your medieval style, almost, but it's got that anime flair to it. So a lot of lion heraldry, a lot of bordering, fancy armor, paladin style characters. So if you're really into the knight, paladin, warrior type, in terms of their abilities, they are very combat oriented. Not a whole lot of support characters running around in Empire, and they have lots and lots of warriors. So this is a good faction if you like playing warriors and kind of straight up combatants. Okay, next up, Azure Alliance. Azure Alliance is made up mainly of prowlers and pirates and sometimes even like evil, well, not really evil, but I guess like godlike beings. So here are the Arbiters. So yeah, you'll see a good mix of different characters, a lot of dark characters, whereas Empire had a lot of light faction characters. Azure Alliance tends to have a lot of dark and neutral characters, so we'll see a lot of dark characters and lots of Prowlers. Prowlers is very common to Azure Alliance. If you like painting sort of dark, gothic, piratey looking models, look at it, this is Dead Moon, fantastic model by the way. Then Azure Alliance is more for you. They're very speedy, hard-hitting, I don't know if they're hard-hitting, but they're definitely speedy and quick, and they're kind of stealthy, and that will kind of play into this. Here's a hard hitter right here, Maximo. But yeah, so that's Azure Alliance. Just think shadowy, dark, in that. I guess that would be the main thing. Prowlers. Think Prowlers when you're thinking Azure Alliance. Okay, so now Church is... their theme is really angels and demons and inquisitors. Beautiful, beautiful theme for the church. If you are a religious person, you might get offended by some of the church fluff because it is it strikes a little close to home to the Judeo-Christian type of belief, and you'll see a lot of that iconography. So their characters are very saint-like, angelic. Or, Inquisitor, almost kind of S&M-y style for their dark side style characters. They have a good mix of different factions, although I think they tend to lean more towards light characters. So you've got nun, saintly type characters. Very fun model. Look at this model, Saint Haziel. Beautiful. Angelic. I mean, this is Church. Fantastic. And then their dark characters like Xavier, a little more kind of S&M. But yeah, love the Church. My favorite, my first faction, and probably my favorite, still my favorite, is Church. So then we move over to Samael. Samael has a lot of mystics. So they're like the fallen angel supernatural creatures. So you'll see like that's a crazy model. Ophiel, very neat model. And then fallen angel Dinah. So you can see how angelic they can be. So, but supernatural. So not quite like Church where it's got the religious undertones. These are more angels and directly angels and demons. Not so much like saints and inquisitors. So you'll see lots of mystics in Samael. Lots of kind of this awesome supernatural theme. Love Konosuke. Morrigan, fantastic model. Fantastic model. Just Samael is just beautiful. Another kind of speedy, somewhat hard-hitting faction. Again, lots of mystics. That's kind of what Samael does. They're all kind of about that supernatural warrior mystic. They're like gods and all that kind of thing. And then we have Wissenschaft. Now, Wissenschaft is kind of like the steampunk anime techno style organization, and you can see like heavy anime theme. Look at that. Incredible. Love Wissenschaft. This is a popular one for a lot of players. They like to get into Wissenschaft because of giant, awesome anime-style mechs. And then kind of like these shadowy agents that make up Wissenschaft. Lots of like bio enhancements going on. So again, like steampunky theme. Look at this Cordelia Rosalind. This is a model that people see this model and this kind of gets them into the game. Fantastic. You know, this game does have its anime theme, so there is going to be some exposure of body parts, particularly female body parts. If you have a problem with that, this may not be the game for you. I don't really recommend this game for anybody, say, under 13, personally, because it does have a lot of adult theme to it. And it is anime style, so, you know, they're comfortable with a little bit of sexuality, and so am I, so I'm totally cool with it. Anyway, so this is Wissenschaft. And then what's not in the main rulebook? There are also Wanderers, I should point out. They're not an organization, believe it or not, but they are more like mercenaries. You can take one for every 200 levels in your game. So here are some of the Wanderers. They have a lot of different themes, like this kind of Chinese theme, like think Dynasty Warriors or Romance of the Three Kingdoms here. But the one that's not in the book, the organization that's not in this first book, is the Black Sun Corporation, which features a lot of undead, a much more heavily goth-themed type of organization. So I don't really have much to show for Black Sun. I don't even own any Black Sun miniatures. But those are like undead, think Hellhound constructs, super zombie style constructs, and then you've got the Black Sun agents, which are almost sort of a gothic cyberpunk feel. So Anima Tactics has some really cool themes. This is Faust. He's fun. He's a fun wanderer. I just painted him recently. So they have a lot of fun themes in Anima Tactics, and this art is just breathtaking. So anyway, I've rambled on about factions and organizations long enough. Hopefully this is helpful for you choosing a particular faction or organization. Now, my bit of advice is when you start collecting models for Anima Tactics, think of an organization and think of a faction you wish to lean towards. So, for example, when I first started playing Anima Tactics, Church was my initial draw. So I went Church, and then in particular, I went with Light faction. So I was Church and Light, and then you kind of branch out from there. So moving on from Light, then I went over to Empire. Empire helps me cross over into Dark Faction characters, and then I can branch out from there. So anyway, that was a very long explanation. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.